Welcome to the Salty Seekers, where you can hang out with friends and talk about all areas of spirituality and the metaphysical, while knowing you don't have to be pure love and light to do it.
Hello, and welcome back to the Salty Seekers. Today we are talking about the laws of the universe, and there's 12 of them. I've been reading through them and watching videos, and as I go through them, I can see examples in my life. How about you, V?
Oh, yeah. When you look at them, you realize that you're pretty familiar with all of them. And a lot of them sound like they're the same thing, kind of like they're all similar. They all weave in and out of each other. And if you've ever done any work with manifestation and law of attraction and everything, you realize that this is all included. So we're going to break down the 12 universal laws and go from there. Ready?
Ready. I'll read the first one.
Okay.
All right, so the first one I have is Law of Divine Oneness.
Right. So the law of divine oneness is where everything is connected. You may think that you're an individual, that you are a single solitary soul out there on your own, but really there is no separation. Everything is connected, and even more than just being connected, at the core of it all, we are all one being, one entity. We're each just a little fractal of that entity. So what you do to one, you do to all.
It's the pebble in the water, the ripples.
Yes. It's like being a single little drop of water out of the ocean. The little drop of water starts to think he's an individual, but like throw him back in the ocean, you can't even tell which one he is, you know?
The greater collective.
The greater collective. All right. Number 2, the law of vibration.
All right, the law of vibration. At a microscopic level, everything is in constant motion, vibrating at a specific frequency. What do you think about that?
So, yeah, everything is made of energy. Every single thing. This table, the air, me, you, our thoughts, whether tangible or intangible, every single thing is made of energy and everything is in constant motion. It's vibrating at a specific frequency. And so this is going to play into some of the other universal laws where when frequencies match, you draw things to yourself. They are drawn to each other.
I was about to say that vibrational matches, how sometimes you can't hold something or it doesn't come in alignment because of the vibration. But yeah, you're right. It'll come up in a minute.
Exactly. Number 3 is, we just said it, the law of attraction. If you've done any kind of manifesting, if you've been on the spiritual path for even 5 minutes, you know what the law of attraction is. The law of attraction is when you try to make a match, energetic match, with the frequencies of what you want and pull it to you. I want prosperity. I want abundance. I want that person. I want a nicer house. I want to have a baby. I want, whatever the case may be.
Clearly, I attract tacos.
I have attracted tacos too. Yeah.
They want me. I want them.
This cheek and this cheek will both attest to that. We got, dumps like a truck back there, a taco truck. Dumps like a taco truck. Okay. Law of attraction. So in order to attract what you want, you have to become an energetic match to that thing. As we've already discussed with law number 2, the law of vibration, everything is vibrating at a specific frequency. So it's when you match the thing that you want. If the thing that you want is like vibrating up here, but you're all depressed and mopey or cranky or whatever it is, your vibes are low. You're not going to match this thing. You're not going to get that thing. So what you have to do is start working on yourself. And that's a whole other show, a whole other topic, but work on raising your vibrations, start meditating and doing things to raise your vibes. And then you have to become an energetic match to this thing. And there's a little bit more to it, but that's another show. That's another topic. So maybe we'll just do a show sometime on the law of attraction. What do you think?
Yeah, that works.
So the 4th law is the law of correspondence. And Jay, why don't you tell us what that one's about?
A pattern repeats through the universe. And on a personal level, our reality is a mirror of what's happening inside of us at the moment. So if you have chaos inside, it's going to start spilling out.
Yeah,
so,
as above, so below.
Yeah. So like we just talked about in the last law, you got to get that vibe up. You got to, get it there. I didn't have this word last week and had a rough week last week. So half the time I was worried. It's like, man, I'm putting chaos out. I got to figure out how to get out of this fog. And it had me worried.
Yeah.
Like,
Unfortunately, when you have moments like that, you've put it out there, and sometimes it might take a minute to get back to you.
oh,
You
good
know,
fun's coming my way.
yeah, I mean, not to be a bummer. Sorry for the bad news, bud. But
Oh,
yeah, sometimes you put it out there, it takes a minute to get back, and then you're like, why the heck is everything in my life blowing up or like so low vibe? But it's because you created a wobble, you put it
mhm.
out there, and it's going to take a minute to get back to you, but it doesn't mean it's permanent
No, nothing. It
because,
just flows in and out.
right, because as above, so below, right, as we've already said. And so you can trust and you can rest assured that if you are working to keep your vibes high and you're feeling pretty good and life's going pretty good, like that's going to be coming back to you. But for example, you can't spend 10 years being a cranky jerk and then just meditate a few times and be in a good mood one day and go, why is my life a mess? You can't go 10 miles into the woods and get out in two. So sometimes it takes a little while to like slow the snowball and then get it to reverse and go the other way. This is also a good way to gauge where your vibes are currently at. I used to get this question all the time. I just got it a few days ago, actually. How can I tell where my vibrations are? How can I tell what level they're at? And I have a video on this I will link to below, but I called it What is Manifest? And what I meant by that is you can just look around your life and see what is already manifested in your life. What has manifested? What is manifest in your life? And that is because at any given moment in time, what is happening in your life is a direct reflection of where your vibes have been. This is what you have manifested to this point in time. If you're cruising along halfway fairly decent, you're feeling pretty good. For the most part, you have good relationships around you. You enjoy your job. You have a nice home. Things are okay. Like, then, your vibes have probably been going okay. If you're constantly in bad relationships, you might be addicted to substances, you might be dealing with crippling depression or anger or fights within your relationships and your family, and just everything's a mess and you're always broke and just shit sucks. You might need to do a little bit of work on your vibes.
Clean up your internal drama.
Yeah, clean it up. As above, so below. This is also, before we move on, this is also a good gauge on how you know if someone will be a good partner or a good friend, because how they do some things is how they do everything. And so if you see that, like in these areas of life, they really act with no integrity, they have no problem stealing or like eating grapes like they're free as they walk through the store and then just not paying for them, just little cheating
So I can't
bullshit.
do that. We gotta wash them things, man. That's
Well, that too. Yeah, for sure.
mm.
Like if they're giving something for free, they don't get charged for something on their bill, like at a restaurant or something, and they just don't say anything. Or they find the money in the parking lot and they just don't give it back, even though they saw who dropped it.
That happened to me a few weeks ago. I tracked that dude down too.
That's what I'm saying. Because you're a person of integrity, which means in a relationship, you would probably also act with integrity.
I feel too guilty.
Yeah. So if you're out there dating and you notice that they're kind of shady or don't act with integrity in
Mhm.
some areas, you can rest assured that there will come a time they will not act with integrity to you too, and they're going to be doing shady stuff behind your back.
Yeah.
Because as above, so below.
But I can change her. Sorry.
Have you heard that Taylor Swift song?
Which one?
I Can Change Him.
Mm-mm. But I've seen that song and dance.
The whole song, she's going, I can change him. No, really, I can. And then the very last line is, I can change him. No, maybe I can't.
Yes.
Because you can't. You can't fix them.
People only change when they want to.
Yeah.
That's
And
it.
man, that's a big if. I posted something the other day that said something like, the potential that you see in other people isn't real. That's just a projection of how you would act if you were in their shoes.
See that? I had that thought yesterday. I was at a daddy-daughter dance, and I could see all the little girls dancing and their joy, and empath me is eating this alive. But I could see each person and the potential that was there. Now it's like, Maybe am I projecting, or do I
You're
just?
projecting how you would want them to turn out, not how they're going to turn out.
Yeah, they're so young, and I'm like, there's so much potential here.
They're still so wholesome.
And they're
Yeah.
singing Taylor Swift and Justin Bieber at the top of their lungs. My ears are hurting.
Oh, yeah. If only we could wrap all our babies in bubble wrap and just keep them like that forever.
That was the song they were singing, baby, 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 loud as I can. Oof.
Baby,
Yep.
baby, baby.
High pitch.
Number 5, the law of inspired action. So this states that change is going to come and like things are going to start moving and shaking when you are in the flow, and the actions that you take at that time are inspired because they are divinely aligned for you at that time. And so they help to propel you along because they're not just useless actions that aren't doing anything for you. Inspired action is when you're in the flow.
It's letting you go of control and how things will work out, instead of just opening up to the possibilities and making room for new ways to achieve the goals. That inspired action coming to you, those scary steps at times, but you're in the flow, you're going with it. You're on the river and you gave up your paddle. We're just going to go with it. This isn't how I imagined it, but let's go with it.
It's path of least resistance, I always say. You can tell when you're in the flow and when you're taking inspired actions because doors fly open. If you notice that you're meeting obstacle after obstacle and nothing is working out and doors keep getting shut and you keep hitting barriers, it's not just a few to see if this is really what you want, like as a test, but you could tell it's just not working out. You're not in the flow, because when you're in the flow, like a hot knife through butter, it just flows. You just go. I've talked before about when I moved home from Arizona about how like the money just started rolling in and my brother offered to drive the U-Haul. All the things that I needed were just like boom, 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 dominoes falling.
Yeah, you didn't plan it. It just started coming. It started coming. It's
Yeah.
like, you need this. Here it is. You need this.
Yep.
Here it is. But on a side note, if you're in your house and doors are opening and closing, I suggest sage, a little freaking.
Right. You need to do some cleansing, maybe. Light a candle for protection or something.
You got something going on there.
I posted that video a year ago. I think it was a year ago, where I was sitting there filming a video and my patio door behind me just started sliding open. I think it was the wind, but people are just like, no way, the wind can't be that strong. Oh my God.
She tells herself that to sleep at night. See, she posted, but if I send a video like that, I get, don't send me that.
Because I know that it's probably nothing creepy. Your stuff's creepy.
That's not creepy. It's fun.
No, he sends me creepy stuff and I'm just like, no. I don't even want to watch that. Or I'll watch it through once with my hand covering the screen and just listening to it. And if I hear anything scary, I'm like, nope, not watching it.
I think she's the person that goes to the horror films at the theater and looks at her shoes most of the time. Like, something's about to happen. Look at my shoes. Them some nice shoes.
There'd have to be a lot of money being paid to me to get me into that theater. I know that as a teenager, my cousin Michelle and her, at the time it was her boyfriend, now it's her husband, Dewey. Michelle and Dewey used to make me go to haunted houses with them in the fall. And they would have to sandwich me in between them, and I would have my face buried in Dewey's back, like his coat wrapped around my face. And they'd have to guide me through because I'm like, I'm not looking. And he's like, what's the point of even being here? I'm like, I don't want to be here. You guys are making me be here. Because, Shelley was like my sister, and we were always together. And she and Dewey started dating when they were 12. Shelley and I were 12. Dewey was a couple years older. So we were just always together. And they love horror movies and haunted houses. So they're like, you're going. And I'm like, no. Yeah, I hate that shit. Always have.
We should definitely go this October.
No.
Come on, it'll be fun.
No. No. I'll do a nice... I'll do a nice boring corn maze or maybe even a hayride, but haunted shit.
We have one around here. It's a hayride where people dress up as zombies and you pay, and they give you paintball guns to shoot them.
Well, maybe then that might be fun.
Yeah.
Spomy just reminded me of this time. If you guys are anywhere in the Midwest, you've probably heard of Cedar Point. It's a big amusement park in Ohio. It's like one of the world's biggest, has the best roller coasters and stuff. Anyways, whenever my kids were young, we used to get season passes every year. And so we like lived at Cedar Point when they were little. And every fall, they turned the park into like a huge haunted house, like a theme. But they would have haunted houses specifically built all through the park. And Darren was always so macho. He must have been 10, maybe 11 at this time. And he's just like, you got to go in there, Mom. Like, this stuff ain't scary. And I'm like, no, honey, I'm going to sit out. I'll be right here waiting. See when you get out. All of a sudden, I see, I see the side emergency exit to this place fly open. Darren's booking out. Like, and then he slows down and like, gets himself together, brushes his hair down, and just kind of saunters over to me. Hey, Mom, what you doing? And I'm like, you okay, honey? And he's like, yeah, it was great. I'm done now. And I was like, did you go all the way through? And he's like, sure, yeah. Dad and the girls are back there somewhere, though. I don't know where. They got lost in the crowd behind me or something. And I didn't tell him that I saw him bust through the emergency exit. Just
Sorry to put you on blast, bud.
Yeah, and then when the girls got out, they were like, Darren ran like a chicken. And he's like, I did not. And they're like, yes, you did. Oh my God. How funny.
Hey, fight or flight, it worked.
It worked, yeah. His instincts are intact. Run away, son, run away.
All right. So we're at the law of cause and effect. I think this one's relatively straightforward. It's
I agree.
direct relation between action and events. So what you put out comes back.
Karma.
Yep.
Yeah. Karma is my boyfriend. Karma, what you put out, you get back. Period. You don't have to pray for somebody to get their karma. Like, it's coming. You cannot avoid the karma, good or bad, because karma's not always bad. Mm-hmm. If you're a doer of good deeds, if you act with a pure heart, if you act with good intention, that comes back to you. Yeah, I don't cause the karma, but I can't say I'm sorry when some people get theirs either. I'll watch it.
I'm only sorry when I get mine.
Yeah, I'm only sorry when I get mine. But you know what? If you go through this world and you're not an asshole, you probably won't get too much bad karma.
We have our moments.
I'm not saying I'm perfect, but mine are mostly in thought, like, man, they're such a jerk. I just think like negative shit about people, like, God, what an ass, about certain politicians or about, I don't know, certain people who just aren't the nicest people.
I guess this law has come into effect for me in the last week, not in my tough week, but at work I've been trying to meet more people, help them out, that white glove experience, but at the same time, making sure I'm saying hello. I was looking at almost like The Sims. I'm going in there and trying to meet them to increase their friendliness meter. But, I'm being kind. I'm saying nice things. And it's not superficial. I mean it.
That's what I was just going to get to. You have to examine your motive. And I'm not saying this about you. I'm saying this about everybody. You can't just walk around thinking that, I'm going to do good things for people. If you're doing it as means to an end, like, I'm going to do nice things for her because then she's going to give me your number and we can go out. Not you, I'm saying, but like anybody. You have to have pure intentions behind it. Like, I want to be kind to them. I want them to know that I can be trusted and that we can have a healthy working relationship.
Yeah, that's ultimately my end goal, is to build that rapport. That way, I'm building goodwill. And it's how I've always treated my, tech support customers. At a certain point, when you build goodwill with people, they know your quality of service. They know who you are. So when I fix something for you and I say, you're good to go, just give it a minute, they know I'm right and they know I'm serious and they don't question me. They don't hold me for another 10 minutes. And that guy knows he's good. He's kind. He knows what he's doing. He's always friendly, helpful. And, that's what I'm doing. So I'm out there trying to put out that goodwill, trying to put out that good service, what I call white glove, instead of you calling and they're telling you to do this and that. No, I'll come to you. I'm going to come to you.
Right.
I'm going to fix it with you. You're going to see how I do it and I'm going to help you.
I was just given a few examples by Spirit of me because I was thinking, how do I do this? A couple of ways in regards to my channel. I've purposely not taken a lot of sponsors. I've purposely not just constantly regurgitated the same popular information like other channels do. They find something that their people like and they just keep churning out the same information in different videos. I could probably have 1 million subscribers right now and be making a whole lot of money off YouTube if I didn't want to act with integrity in that area. If I know that if I post on spirit guides, clairs, starseeds, or aliens, I get all the views typically. So if I just kept making content about that, but then I would do well, but that wouldn't be acting with integrity.
Mm-hmm.
So I purposely don't do that because I feel that it's more important to show up authentically and say, these are the things that I think it would be helpful for you to know so that you have like a well-balanced education. And I try to answer the specific questions that come into me. The other thing is that I've always tried to respond to almost all of my comments. It used to be all of them, but sometimes I get too many. But I would say I still respond to about 99% of them personally as quickly as possible, even if it's just to say thank you or something, because I want them to know that I value them being there and I appreciate them and they can trust me to be here for them. And I think it's worked well because the people that I interact with always say, like, I know that I can trust you, or you're so genuine, you always listen, that kind of thing. But that's what I purposely set out to cultivate because that's where my heart is, mean that. So because of that, I get people back that are pretty genuine. You guys are the kindest. They're the kindest, most loving, generous. God, you guys are just the best. You're so supportive and you're so kind. And the kind things that you say to me, they humble me all the time. Trust me. They don't go unnoticed. They aren't lost on me. And may all of those blessings come back to you tenfold. Seriously.
Got us in the feels.
Got us in the feels, man. Number 7 is the law of compensation. And to me, this sounds an awful lot like the law of cause and effect. Don't you think so?
Is this one more like reap what you sow, or I'm still trying to understand the nuances between them?
Maybe someone out there can explain it. Maybe I need to do a little bit more research. I don't know. But to me, they sound the same. It's like the law of cause and effect, what you do will be done unto you. It's like the golden rule. Do unto others what you would like done unto you. But to me, that's also what the law of compensation is, because it says that whatever you put out will be given back to you. Whatever you withhold from others will be withheld from you. To me, that sounds exactly the same. So I don't understand the nuances of it. If there's anyone out there that does understand it, leave it in the comments or send it to us.
One thing that comes to mind when I think about this, you reap what you sow, what you put out comes back. And this is something I don't like talking about because when I do these kind of things, I don't do it for attention. Some people will put this stuff on Facebook or Instagram. That's not me. I love to work in the shadows, and this not a negative way, but around us, and I'm sure you might have them. I call them angel boxes. They appear at churches and different centers. You donate food or blankets, whatever, and so I will go and I will load these things up. And I do this and I stay in my silence. And so what makes me think of this in meditation one day, the clairvoyant variety of things happened. And what I saw was the front of a house and it had their like post address, but it was a random number streak. And I sat there and I thought on it for a while and I started Googling and it came up as an angel number. Of course, every number does if you throw it in there, right? But this one came back and said, the ascended masters recognize your generosity in taking care of other people and they are appreciative of your efforts. And I was like, wow, that really hit the nail on the head for me. So I was like, cause and effect. It was noticed, not just by the people that were, they don't know who you are, but they had a warm meal tonight. It was noticed by something greater.
Right. It was noticed by something greater and you will be compensated in kind.
And, I've been blessed. I mean, we all have our own trials, tribulations, rough times. Like, I had my rough patch last week. But, in general, I have been blessed. I got a great, family. My little girl, I have what I need. I can't complain. It's like that. I ain't dead and in jail. I can't complain.
Yeah, right. This also makes me think of judge not lest you be judged. And I used to watch Dog the Bounty Hunter all the time. He was always saying, where mercy's given, or where mercy's shown, mercy is given. Like, what you show mercy, you're going to get mercy, because there's going to be a time where you're going to need it.
Yes.
But if you withhold mercy, you're not going to get it either.
And, don't judge. And it's a good example of, I see someone on the side of the road asking for money. There are people around me that it's a scam. And, some of them might be. or they
Mm-hmm.
say, they should get a job or they should do this. And my point of view is don't judge
It's
them.
none of
I
my
don't,
business.
I
Yeah.
don't know the state they're in. If they're in a bad state, needing it, great, I helped them. If they're in a lying state, I still helped them, but that's something they're going to have to sort out at some point.
God saw it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but that's not my concern. My concern is to try to
Right.
be the best I can be. My whole end goal, a lot of times, and the reason I agree to do these kind of things is I want to be the person I needed when I was down.
Yeah.
I want to be the person that would help me, and so I'm going to come try to help you. I might not have a lot, or I might not have what you need, but I'm willing to try.
Yeah.
So
Love
good
that.
cause and effect.
Yeah. Several years ago, I think before I even started being aware of all of this kind of stuff, I noticed that this was happening in my life, the whole like judge not lest you be judged type of situation. And I became acutely aware after a series of events that wherever I judged someone, it was going to happen to me shortly thereafter. And so I learned to try to keep my mind clear, like just simple
hmm
everyday examples. Like if you see someone with toilet paper on their shoe and you're just like, how embarrassing. Did they not look in the mirror before they leave? How can you not notice it? Oh my God, how humiliating. And you judge them. Like the next day, you're probably going to be the one with toilet paper stuck to your shoe getting judged because you know what I mean? That stuff like that had happened to me several times in a row. And I'm thinking, oh my God, this is like almost instant. If I'm
Yeah.
judging someone, it happens to me, that exact thing. So I became very aware of things that my brain or ego was trying to zone in on other people. And I'm just like,
Try not to. Ooh, I got
yeah.
another good example of this. It came to me. I was working at a fairground, like between junior and senior year of high school, and we would set up conventions and we would mow the area. And I've been doing this all summer. And so I was out in the front of the fairgrounds mowing and trimming outside the fence. And up to that point, rarely had I seen any of the neighbors come out or interacted with anybody because we were there at a time when none of the other staff workers were there. We were just, we're cutting and setting up.
Mm-hmm.
And being August, it's a hot day. I was cutting and I found like $5. And, that's big money because, I'm in high school. It's big money.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think anything about it. I went back to cutting, and this kind of disheveled gentleman was walking down the street, and he stopped me. So I killed the mower, and I looked at him. He goes, "Man, you got any money?" And at first, I was going to tell him no because I didn't come to work with any money. Then I
Mm-hmm.
remembered I had $5. I'm like, "Well, all right, here's my $5." Didn't think anything more about it, and I continued cutting back around the corner. And this house, I've seen the house every day, but this little old lady comes out and says, "You look hot," and she gives me a Coke or something. And so I was like, "Man, thanks." And so I went inside. I kept cutting it. I finally went back to the convention center to get some water out of the fountain. And in the back area, they had like a kitchen with fountain drinks, but it was never open because they were never there. They were there. And she goes, "Man, you look hot." And so she let me have all the fountain drinks I want. And I was like, "I'm
Nice.
doing great." So I keep cutting back there and I get back where the Masons area was. And I'm cutting around the Masons. And the dude in his little SUV comes like, "Man, I'm going to Sonic. You want something?" And I'm like, "Man, I got any money on me." He goes, "Man, I didn't ask that." And so I,
Oh,
I gave up my $5 to a random stranger that needed it, and for the
yeah.
rest of the day, my cup runneth over,
That's
literally.
awesome. I love that. I was just given another example while you were talking. One time, my daughter Amelia and I had gone out to dinner before we went to the grocery store, and I had almost to the penny. Like, I had enough money to get the groceries I needed for that week. And we were sitting in this booth. My back was to the restaurant, but she could see out there, and she's like, "Mom, Spomy keeps telling me to tell you to turn around and look at that table right there with that family." And so I did, and it was a family like mom, dad, 3 or 4 kids. And she's like, "He's saying pay for their dinner." And I'm like, "Well, you can tell Spomy, Mama's broke. I ain't paying for nothing." And she's like, he laughed and he said, "No, really." This is before I could really hear Spomy. This was in the early days. And I'm like, seriously, like, how am I going to do that? If I do that, I will not have money for groceries. We won't eat this week. And she says, he's laughing at you and saying, "She never trusts anything. She's so cynical. She's so skeptical. Like,
Mhm.
tell her, just trust." And so I sat there for a minute, like pouting and like, "It's real? Like, seriously? Fine." And I called the waitress over and I said, "Please do not tell them. I don't want credit for this. I want to pay for that family's meal, just an act of kindness. Please don't tell them." And so she let me pay for their bill. And then as they were getting up to leave, we're eating, but kind of like looking over there, trying not to be obvious. And we see him go, what, who? And he like looks up and looks right at me. And I'm like, oh, she told
Hot.
God. And he comes over. He could hardly speak English. I think he was Mexican, but he was very broken English, and he's just like, why you pay? And I was like, I just wanted to be kind. I just wanted to do something kind for you. I hope that you're blessed. Have a good evening. And finally, he's like, oh my God, thank you, thank you, thank you. And they left. So then I went to go pay for my meal, and the lady's like, nope, you don't know anything. And I'm like, what do you mean I don't know anything? And she goes, the table sitting behind you heard what you did for them. So when they left, they wanted to pay for your food too. So don't worry about it. So I had all my money back. It was awesome.
I love when those ripples happen. I saw that happen at a
Yeah.
drive-through a few years ago. The first car started, and by the time I got up there, it was about 10 or 15 cars in a row that happened to.
That's
It kept
awesome.
rippling backwards.
I love it. Don't you wonder who the first jerk stops it?
It puts everybody else like, what?
Yeah, because like the pressure's on. Like, are
It's
you going to
it,
be the one to break the chain?
it's like you. It's like I mean, I don't have the money, and I don't know what the person behind me ordered. You guess
Right.
it's just one person, but man, they ordered for
They
the office.
exactly. Or there are 12 kids at home or something, you know?
And my favorite is just watching them in the rearview mirror because they're like trying to figure out what just happened, and you're like, haha, driving off.
Oh my God. I know. That's great. Next on the list is number 8, the law of perpetual transmutation of energy.
Transmutation. That's a big word.
Yeah. So transmutation is like alchemy. Like you're taking something and you're changing it into something else. You're taking something bad and you're making it into something good.
I've heard that word in like readings that said you're a person that transmute negative energy in your fields, and I'm like, I'm not sure what you're saying to me, but cool, I guess.
Go team. Don't know what it means. But here we are. So, if you're having a really bad day, you talk about this all the time with certain family members and how like they're very negative, very negative, very negative. And you're like, if you would just stop wallowing in the negative, maybe things would feel better. You know what I mean? So it's like instead of just focusing on what a bad day you're having, how miserable you feel, you're so sick of this, blah, negative, you start going, I like the sunshine today.
Mm-hmm.
Those flowers are really pretty. That's a nice breeze coming in through the window. You start finding things to focus on. And pretty soon, by focusing on those higher frequency things, because remember, everything is frequency, right? By focusing on the higher frequency things, you start to raise to match the level of what you're focusing on. Whereas if you focus on the low vibrating things, you're going to lower your vibes to match the frequency of what you're focusing on. So you have the option to transmute energy by focusing on something higher.
I've been trying to apply that, and I was doing it yesterday at the daddy-daughter dance, but in a different way. But I guess it's several of these rules. One is I'm
Mm-hmm.
looking at the positivity, but two, I'm stepping out of my comfort zone and talking to people. So there were a couple gentlemen that came in really sharp suits. Normally, I would just look and go, because I don't like talking to people, but I actually stopped them and I was like, man, your suit looks really good. So I'm focusing
Uh-huh.
on that's positive, and you're doing great things for your daughter. But at the same time, us as men, we don't typically get compliments that much. And so I'm hitting this guy with it, man, your suit, that is sharp. That looks good, man.
Love it.
And so, I'm trying to raise my vibe. I'm trying to give him that little pick me up that he may have never
Yeah.
got. It probably comes weighted more from a beautiful woman like you, but he got me. That's the lot he drew.
Yeah.
Like, hey, dude, you looking good.
Hey, guy. Pull out your Ryan Gosling voice. Hey, guy.
Yeah, I've been trying to make myself do that more, looking at more positive things, but not only that, but actually saying how I feel. And like someone comes to work and got some
Yes.
new shoes, I'm like, your shoes look really nice. I like those. And you pay them the compliment. You feel better because I've spoke my
Yes.
truth, but I've also raised my vibe. I've gave you a little pick me up. We're just sharing this goodness.
Yeah. We're in that love vibe. We're riding that love quake. Yeah, but when you're doing it with good intentions like that's coming from your heart center. It's coming from a basis of love. And like, how can you not feel good when you're in the midst of love? Disease can't exist in the midst of perfect love. That's one of the first things that SPOMI taught me. I think that's fantastic. That's big progress for you.
Mm.
I
Actually,
love that.
one of my coworkers, she
I
came
want
to
to do my
work
happy dance.
one day and kind of disheveled, and she's like, "Yeah, I couldn't get myself together." Next day came like the suit and everything, like a pantsuit and whatnot, and looked sharp. And it blurted out before I could catch myself. I said, "You look great today." I mean, I'm still struggling with saying nice things, but I was like,
Uh-huh.
"She thanks. I know yesterday was tough." I'm like, I wasn't going to say that, but yeah.
I know yesterday I was telling you the story of how when I worked at the hospital and I made the decision to not just let the people that come to my desk talk at me and I'm just going, yeah, 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 okay, got it, and like taking notes. I would purposely stop and turn around
Mhm.
and make eye contact with them and smile. And I would purposely try to notice things about their outfit or their physical appearance or something that I could give them positive feedback about. And it was from a loving intention. I wanted to build a rapport with them. I want everybody to know how special they are. And if you look fucking great today, I want to tell you, and I would just turn around and I'd be like, oh my God, that tie looks so good with your eyes. And you could just see them blossom.
Mhm.
You could see their heart open even that much. And like they'd stand up a little straighter and you could see their eyes sparkle and they'd smile and they'd be like, thank you. I'm like, you're welcome. Or, just little things like that. Or a girl come around and I'd be like, oh my God, your lipstick is so good. Perfect. Perfect shade for you. Oh my God, thank you. Just little things, but people light up and it opens their heart. You get blessed by blessing them. And now their day's better
Mhm.
because they just got blessed. Win win. God, let's make the world a better place. That
Take
just
that
lights me
negativity
up.
and transmute it.
Hell yeah. Transmute it into something good. PMA, positive mental attitude, that covers so much and that will take you so far. Even with your health, I think if you just keep a positive mental attitude and you constantly are tapped into that loving, positive energy, I'm not saying to spiritually bypass if you're actually feeling some
Mhm.
feelings of some type, but like to just get into the practice of living and existing and moving throughout your days in a space of positive mental energy and you're not afraid to show it with other people and to share that. God, it just makes everything better. I just filled my own cup. Look at
There you
me.
go.
Like I feel so lit up right now. I'm like, yes, change the world. Transmute that energy. Fuck yeah. Anyways, I digress.
It's all right.
This is the stuff that excites me. God, I love making the world a better place. But it all starts from people's hearts.
Mhm.
And even right now, like in the climate that we're living in right now, my God, it's so easy to go down those dark paths and to just feel hopeless or to feel like, F them. God, can't stand those people that think that way. While that may be true, you can still be like, that's pretty amazing the way that they're a carpenter and they work with that wood. Or they're an amazing painter, even though their politics are bullshit.
Mhm.
There's still positive things to find about each other and to lift each other up about. You don't have to agree on everything. I'm not saying brush it under the rug, but you don't have to agree on everything in order to make someone feel loved and appreciated because maybe that's what they need in
That's
order
what
to
we all
shift
need.
their. It's what we all need.
Mhm.
I know I have days where I just need to hear some compliments. I need to hear that what I'm doing is worth it, or I just need a hug,
Well,
or you know what I'm saying? And when I need it, it comes to me. But that's because I've put it out there too.
mhm.
Yeah. And I love that you're taking that chance, that risk, and like you're being a little more vocal about things with people.
I try to,
That blesses me.
spread that love, I guess.
I know. But it's
I
not lost on me how big of a deal that is for you. And like,
I did that for one of my employees. I was telling you, part of my issues last week, I was eating some of his emotions 'cause I know he's struggling, and
yeah.
that's that unshielded empath. That's a whole different
Mm-hmm.
conversation because I don't realize it
Yeah.
sometimes. I'll eat people's emotions. I'm like, "What's going on? Why do I feel this way?" But, yeah, I was talking with him Friday in group chat, and he's like I say, "Hey, guys, any big plans for the weekends?" And he's like, "I'm gonna try to lay down the burdens I was struggling with this week." And,
Mm.
obviously, I don't know his burdens.
Mm-hmm.
But I said, "Look, man, I don't know your burdens, but just remember you're enough, and that's what you gotta keep going with." And, maybe in time I'll know more, but I just remind him, "You're enough." It's a battle every day. Some of us who struggle with mental illness or traumas, and some days it can be harder than others. And then you can go weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks, no problems, man. Rainbows and sunshines, ponies and unicorns. But then sometimes that crashes down and boy, it's doom and gloom. And you had a week like I had last week where I was just in it, and maybe some shadows were triggered or whatever it was. But it took a bit to come out of it. try to remember there's good, there's bad, there's in between. Just because something's in your best interest, and we all get this twisted, because it is in your best and greatest good doesn't always mean it's going to be rainbows and sunshine. I
Right.
mean, I look at my own like 6 months, lost a job, relationship, lots of turmoil. Sometimes you have to shed stuff. Like we talk about our
Yeah.
dreams with the snakes and shedding the skin.
Yeah. We've both been having those dreams lately.
And it's not always fun, but we pull through. Just keep the faith.
Hmm.
I mean, there's a lot more I can say, but I don't want to get too emotional because that's not really me. But, with the week I had last week, it was hard. I broke a couple times, and I was just sitting there going,
It's hard to find a balance when someone you care about is going through that, because I know that you're a person that likes left alone a lot of the time when you're going through stuff. Whereas I want to be there, like holding your hand, going, how can I help you? Are you
and
okay?
that's
Let's
not
talk
always,
about this. So it's hard to balance to know, when should I reach out? When should I leave you alone? And so, yeah, it's tough to navigate from the other side, because I'm like, I don't know what you want.
a lot of times I want to be left alone because I've learned not to trust people. People have taken that vulnerability and thrown it at me. And I'm
Hmm.
not saying you would do that or anybody does it. It's just,
Right.
I'm a kind of person, once I've learned a lesson, I adapt to it. A good, funny example is one of my employees ripped his pants one of the first weeks I was there. And so in my little cabinet where I hang my
Poor
coat,
guy.
I have a complete outfit because I have to drive so far. I'm like, if I was to rip my pants or get printer ink on whatever it is, I now have a change of clothes because I watched him have to leave and go home. I'm like, yeah. So every time I encounter something good, bad, or indifferent, it leaves a mark, and I try to adapt to it.
Love that.
Now
Good,
that's
good,
not
bad, and
always,
ugly.
yeah, it's not
It's
always
not.
positive, but I try to learn from it and adapt to it. And it's like, okay, so I was vulnerable, and these people chucked it at me. Yeah, I'm not going to do that again.
A lot of my PTSD shows up in the need to be hyper prepared for every scenario. So, like you said, you better have an extra outfit, because what if that happens someday? On Amazon Prime Day, I better order 5,000 batteries just in case I run out of double A's in the middle of the night someday. You know what I mean? I'm a person that sees a scenario or experiences something and I learn from it. And next time I want to be prepared and have what I need. So, yeah, that resonates. I get it. I'm glad you're doing better.
Oh yeah, it's a daily battle. We get there though.
You're loved.
I
You're enough.
appreciate that.
You're welcome.
I'm extra. I'm not just enough. I'm extra.
Me too. So, number 9, the law of relativity. It's all relative. There's no perspective that is the correct perspective. If you're standing, if there's a big cube and every side is painted a different color, and you're on the yellow side, someone over there is on the green side, and you're going, this is an awesome big yellow square. And they're going, it's green.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, it is not. It's yellow. And they're like, you're fucking crazy. It's green, obviously. You're both right. There's no religion that is the right religion. It's whatever's right for you. Like, it's all a matter of perspective. Every person experiencing a hurt or a pain, there's 2 sides to every story. And then the third one is usually the right one. Like, there's your version, their version, and then like what actually happened.
Mm-hmm. It's that analogy of we're all looking out the windows, the same window, but we have different views. How we see it, it's all different.
One of my very first days in nursing school, the professor went up there and said, what is the difference between major and minor surgery? And everybody's like, well, if they have to do this or if they have to do that. And she's like, no, the difference between major and minor surgery is whether it's happening to you or to me.
That's true.
It is true. Yeah, because even if it's technically a minor surgery, if it's happening to you, it's a pretty big deal. So everything is relative to your perspective. And your perspective can change over time.
I had to reel that joke back in.
What was it?
You said everything is relative. I was like, yeah, sounds like Alabama. Yes, I'm a Southerner, and we make fun of each other.
Yeah, and that's okay. I'm here for it. I'll allow it. Number 11, the law of rhythm. Not the rhythm is going to get you, but the law of rhythm. This is that nothing stays the same. Everything ebbs and flows. Everything is either abounding or abasing. Everything is ascending or descending. The only thing you can count on is that things are going to change.
I guess it works with my analogy of the paddle boat. Just get rid of your paddles because you got to flow with it. It changes, it ebbs, it flows, it goes. And the more you resist it, That's my experience. The more you resist it, the more the universe eventually will go, you could have done this the easy way.
Right. I mean, this goes for both good and bad. I mean, you might be happy, but enjoy while it lasts because something's going to happen sometime.
And this too shall
But
pass. Yes.
yeah, and it goes the other way too, that even if you are in the deepest, darkest time, like just hold on. It's going to pass. What goes up must come down, and you're going to be okay. It's going to change. So that is the law of rhythm, that everything is always flowing and moving and changing. It's ever flowing and evolving. And you just have to stay with the flow, because the flow will carry you. You don't even have to do much. Just let it carry you.
Be a passenger, be an observer, enjoy the ride.
Once in a while, take aligned action, which was what number? Number 5. Take aligned action if you're inspired to do so, or if something presents itself that will help you along your way, but stick with the flow. Do the things that you can do.
I thought of you the other day with this.
What's that?
Aligned action, follow the flow, follow your bliss. I was shopping and I found myself in the Easter candy aisle, and I was like, I'm following my bliss, and I'll remember this day when I no longer have feet because of diabetes, but I'm following my bliss.
I was going to say, I thought you ordered me some Reese's peanut butter eggs and they will be shipped to my door.
No, but thanks for the reminder. Do you or someone you love have diabetes?
So number 12 is the law of gender. This means that every person ever created has both masculine and feminine, divine masculine, divine feminine energies. And that doesn't have anything to do with your sexual gender, your physical gender. It is masculine, feminine on the divine scale.
What I see in my mind when you say it is, you got masculine and feminine. I'm making up words. Feminine energy.
Feminine.
And a pendulum, and depending on where you are, how things are hitting you, is where it's pointing and how you're responding. Are you moving into, a nice positive feminine energy or masculine, or are you heading into toxic? And it's one of those, you have to regulate yourself. You have to see what's going on internal, but you're using both energies, and depending on where
Yeah.
you are internally, to me, that's how you're manifesting those energies.
Correct. So this law states that in order to manifest anything, in order to stay in the flow, in order to be aligned, you have to have a good balance of both. There are times where it's going to be necessary to shift into your masculine energies, which are more like do, hunt, gather, like take care of business. There are times where you're going to shift more into the divine feminine energies of like caretaking, nurturing, artistic or crafty things, doing something creative, whatever that looks like for you. And there are going to be times where you're way more in one and you're just feeling out of balance, or you're in the other and you're feeling out of balance. The thing is to get a nice swing of your pendulum between the two, or like settled in the middle.
As soon as you said way out of balance, I immediately heard in my head, man, I feel like a woman.
Yeah. Yeah, there are those times where, a guy might be painting or doing arts and crafts, like building a model car.
I have those. I get into the baking cake phase. For weeks, I'll be in there making frosting and baking and practicing. They come and then it'll leave.
Yeah, perfect example. Sometimes it can be as simple as like if you're outside mowing the lawn and trimming the hedges and stuff, and like you're getting them just right and you want them to look just, that's creative. That's creative expression. That's art. So it can look all different ways.
I went into my sourdough era once too, and just like, I need sourdough.
My friend Kathy's in her sourdough era right now. I bought her an apron that said it, I'm in my sourdough era. For a while, she was making like, I don't know, I don't want to exaggerate, but I don't think I am. She was making like a dozen loaves a day. And,
Jesus.
I know, she was making a lot of bread.
I just wanted some for me.
She's happy. She's like, I'm going to bring you a loaf. What would you want? Do you want this flavor, this flavor, this flavor? I chose a cinnamon swirl with pecans or something, and it was delicious. She did a pretty dope job. But, this can look like a woman just feeling herself. As women, some days we wake up and we are just feeling ourselves. We're like, yes, I woke up like this, bitch. You're like, yeah, who wouldn't want this? Yes. And, you're putting on the lipstick and you're looking all fly. There's guys over there with their suit and like straightening their tie and they're like, hell yeah. Or it's a day where a woman's like, I need to get shit done. And, she is just pounding out the tasks and the chores and checking off the list. That's masculine energy. So the key is to have a nice balance of both. And this is not a blanket statement, but in my experience, the biggest problem lies with women getting stuck in their masculine because they always have to take care of business. They don't have a partner helping hold it down.
Mm-hmm.
So they have to do everything because their partner is either not there or not trustworthy, or it looks like a man being taught by society that it's not safe for him to be in his feminine.
Telepathy. I was about to say that.
Yeah. Like, why are you baking cakes? That's so girly. Only women do that.
Oh no, I've experienced that in younger years. They're like, you should do that. That's a girl or a woman. I'm in here like, man, I want to learn how to make frosting. So I didn't go as deep as your friend did. I only go deep enough to know how, and then I stop.
Oh.
I know how to make a cake now. I can bake it without it doming, without it dipping, perfect, even color.
And you're like, done, next.
I can tell you how. I just don't do it anymore.
Neurospicy. Me too.
Me too. I learn and I move on.
I know so much stuff. Yeah, my friend Allison used to say, how do you know all this stuff? Like, how do you just learn all this? And I'm like, I just learn it.
You should use that Game of Thrones, but just change it. It's like, I'm sexy and I know stuff. Instead of I drink and know stuff.
Right. Oh my God. Because I'm sexy and I know stuff.
There you go.
We need to make merch and put that on our merch, like a coffee cup or a t-shirt that says that.
There you go.
The Salty Seekers. We're sexy and we know stuff.
Well, that'll be your mug. Mine will be
That can be yours too. Oh.
I'll go Jon Snow's route. You know nothing.
We're sexy and we know stuff sometimes. the rest of the time, like, we know nothing, Jon Snow. Yeah, exactly. So that was the 12 laws of the universe, the 12 universal laws. If you stuck with us this far, thank you. We appreciate you. Let us know if you have any questions. Do you have anything to add before we go, Jay? Anything new coming to mind or popping in at the
I'm curious
minute?
of the listeners. Is like, if you have some good examples, like where you put it out and it came back, because those are great stories. I forget about my examples sometimes because, so many weird things happen over the course of life. And then you remember, it's like, to me, even early on, that was a spiritual experience. Even I wasn't on this path, but I gave up that $5 bill and I wanted for nothing the rest of the day. People I had
That's
never seen
fantastic.
before just came out of nowhere.
I love that.
If you have examples like that, man, share it. Because these are fun. They're uplifting stories.
Yeah. In my experience, and I could be wrong, but this is what I've noticed, is that in the beginning, it's kind of like dating. Like in the beginning, before you've even started your path or when you're very first starting your path, spirit will go like over and above to show you some pretty cool stuff. Like they're wining and dining you. They're taking you to fancy restaurants. But like you give away $5, you're getting free stuff all day. You know
It
what I
doesn't
mean?
last because I give up money all the time. I haven't gotten a free drink. No, that's not true. I got a free drink the other day. So it's still
Yeah, I mean,
happening.
it comes back to you, but it might not be in as like magnificent of ways. It's more like equal.
Well, it's kind of like we talked about earlier. It may not come immediately. It's coming. Where that day it was happening every few hours. Bam, bam, bam.
And the truth of it is that it might not even come back in this lifetime. Or you might not even have to pay for naughty deeds in this lifetime. It may be 3 lifetimes from now. And you're like, what kind of karma am I working off? And they're like, back there 3 lifetimes ago, and you found that $5 in the parking lot. Yeah, you're a real dick. You accidentally got someone else's drink that you didn't pay for, and like you kept it. So,
Now she has me questioning my story. Like, damn, did I steal?
Like,
But yeah, after that example, I give anytime I can. Now in our modern era, I don't carry cash like I once did, so it's not as often as I used to. But when I definitely have money and I see somebody needing, it doesn't matter their backstory. Some people will judge them and be like, "Oh, they're just tricking you." Whatever. You need it, I got it. Let's do
yeah.
it.
I almost never, ever, 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 ever have cash on me. I usually have like 1 quarter I can use at Aldi's for the cart, but that's it. Where I am generous about is like stuff in my house or clothes that I have or perfume I have. Someone's like, I love that. That smells so good. I'm like, take it. And they're like, are you sure? I'm like, take it. I have my favorites. They'll never go. But, other ones are like clothes or whatever it is. If they're like, I love that, I'm like, take it. And it's because I remember back in the 90s, there's a Christian minister named Joyce Myers. And I used to love her. I just loved her. And I used to listen to all her teachings, read all her books. But anyways, one of the things that Joyce talked about was that God created you to be a channel and not a reservoir. And that half the time, the blessings that are coming to you aren't even made for you. They're meant for someone else, and they're going to flow through you to that
Yeah.
other person.
You're just the vehicle that will
You're just
deliver.
the vehicle. It wasn't even meant for you.
I'm a blessing Uber.
Exactly. And so I've always kept that in mind. And like, I order a sweater or something and I don't like the way it feels and it doesn't fit quite right. And then one of my girls pop over and they're like, "Do you happen to have a sweater that you didn't want to get rid of?" I'm like, "Yes, as a matter of fact." And they're like, "Oh my God, I love it. It fits me perfect." And I was like, "It was meant for you the whole time. Just take it." So I try to be very generous that way because I am certainly not lacking. I'm not rich, but I'm not lacking. I have everything I need. And if I can bless someone else, I'm happy to do it.
That's why I'm willing to give my food up at all times, because I'm not lacking. My shirt's tighter than I would like.
Now, I don't know. You're crossing the line there. It depends on the food.
Well, I told you a story. I showed up to dance practice at my daughter's, and I brought food with me, and several of the people were asking me about it because it wasn't native to my little area. And for a brief moment, I was like, should I give you my food?
Yeah. There's not much that would get me to give up my food.
Yeah,
If it's good food.
I could use to skip a couple meals, so I'm not really worried about it. But yep, sure, why not?
Well, that is neither here nor there.
No, it is here and there.
I mean, if it's food I don't mind giving up, then okay. But like if it's good food that I'm enjoying, I might offer to buy you one too.
Oh, that food's
You
an
know?
hour away. There's no buying it. It's like, sure,
Yeah.
I can bless you. You can have it.
Or maybe I'll share it. I'll be like, "I didn't bite off the side. You want to take some?" But you ain't getting my food. So, anyways, if you guys have stuck with us this long, thank you. We love you. And we're glad that you enjoy hanging out with us because we love hanging out together. So we hope that you enjoy it too. If you have any show ideas, comments, feedback, anything like that, please reach out to us. You can get a hold of us so many different ways. And if you haven't yet, please hit the follow or subscribe button. That would mean so much.
Yes, thank you. I do have one continuity statement. In our last
Yes.
episode, she was feeling a little bit off and she saged. And during the whole episode, she was coughing and choking. I noticed in this episode it stopped. I'm not saying anything. I'm just pointing out a continuity kind of thing.
Yeah, the demons have been exorcised. I don't know. All right, you guys, you are loved. Take care. Bye.